Picture yourself standing on the edge of a great historical memory. The sun has set, and the old stone paths are quiet now. Long ago, people walked here, and in their minds they carried a picture of a leader. This psychology of narrative is a powerful, hidden force. For some, that picture was shining and warm, a gentle light in the dark. This is the martyr they remember, a symbol of hope. For others, the same person was a deep shadow, cold and unforgiving. This is the villain, a warning in time. Tonight we drift into that quiet space between the light and the dark. We will explore the hidden force, the simple choice, the single word, the quiet symbol that decides if a life ends in a sweet dream or a heavy haunted history. Settle in now, let your breathing slow. We invite you to relax and drift into the deep history that changes a leader into either a saint or a phantom. The quiet power of a symbol. The very first step a leader takes is choosing a simple sign, a quiet symbol. Think of a gentle colour, perhaps white for peace, or a strong red for fire. This chosen sign is the start of the great narrative that will follow them. It is not just a pretty thing to see, it is the seed of symbology that tells the world who they are without needing any words. When the crowd sees this sign, they quickly decide if this person is a friend or someone they must fear. This early psychological choice helps to build a historical memory that lasts long after they're gone. It sets the whole story in motion. Every great movement in history is built on one simple sign. The choice of a plain wooden cross or a strong bright eagle is not by accident. The leader picks a thing that everyone knows but gives it a new, heavy meaning. This meaning grows large and strong, like a big tree from a small seed. If the sign means kindness, the leader is seen as a martyr who suffered for a great good. If the sign means sharp power, the leader might become a villain in the eyes of the people. This visual identity is the first great step on their path. The meaning of the symbol is always in the quiet hands of the people watching. The leader may wear a simple cloak to show they are like the poor farmer. They want the crowd to think they are humble, a friend. But if that simple cloak is seen as a disguise to hide true power, the story changes quickly. The crowd's gentle thought of the leader can shift fast like sand in the wind. The perception is the whole truth here. What the leader shows is only half the story. What the people see is the other, larger half. What this symbolism shows us is that narrative is always stronger than simple facts. A martyr will have a gentle sign, maybe a quiet flower or a small flame, that speaks of hope even in great pain. A villain might have a sharp sign, like a fast sword or a heavy boot, that speaks only of force and fear. These simple pictures stay in our minds, even when we are tired and ready to sleep. The shapes are the language of our deep psychology. We remember the symbol long after we forget the leader's name or the date they were born. The connection between the leader and their chosen symbol becomes so strong that one cannot be thought of without the other. This strong bond is the deep analysis point. The crown is more than gold. It is the weight of all the people. The chain is more than cold iron. It is the price of speaking a hard truth. When we study history for sleep, we let these quiet symbols float gently in our minds. They are like old painted cards that show us the simplest, oldest stories of power, hope, and deep failure. The reflection we take from this first step is a gentle lesson. We must look closely at the small, simple things that powerful people show us first. The choice of a flag's colour, the metal of a pin, or the cut of a coat holds the secret of their final story. Will they be held up as a shining light, a martyr of goodness, or pushed down as a feared shadow, a simple villain? The answer is often hidden right there, in the quiet power of a symbol. First, light in deep caves. The martyr's journey often starts in a deep, dark place, like a cave. The person is not yet a leader, just one of many who feel a quiet pain or a need for change. The first light comes when they decide to speak for the quiet crowd, not just for their own simple needs. This public choice is the real beginning of the narrative that turns a private life into a piece of history. They step from the warm shadow of their own home into the cold, large light of the world. This first decision to speak up is very hard. It means giving up the comfort of being safe and unseen. The leader decides to stand in the spotlight of history, knowing the light can also burn. This first speech, this sudden emergence, is a key part of the psychology of a leader. A villain often speaks for the crowd only to gain power, but a martyr speaks because they truly believe the words will help others. The words themselves are simple, but the meaning is heavy. This moment is a turning point that changes everything. Once the words are spoken in the market square or on the simple hilltop, they cannot be taken back. The leader is now owned by the crowd's hope. They must carry the wishes of many people, which is a great gentle weight. The historical memory starts at this exact second. From this moment on, every action is watched, judged, and fitted into the future story. This is the deep analysis of the first step. The path the leader walks is a mirror. It shows us if they seek to become a shining martyr or a dark villain. The one who speaks for the poor, who does not ask for money or a large house, is building a quiet story of sacrifice. The one who uses loud words to gain gold or a bigger army is building a story of hunger for power. The people listen not only to the words, but to the gentle tone and the simple look in the leader's eyes. This emotional connection is the fuel of their symbology. This choice is the quiet difference that History for Sleep must observe closely. The moment a leader stops being just a person and becomes a symbolic figure is the point of no return. It is where the leader accepts the risk of a final heavy price, either the highest praise or the deepest hate. This is the simple lesson. To speak for the many is to let go of the self. This is the core theme of leadership that repeats over many long years. The reflection is a quiet comfort. We remember that every great fire starts with just one small spark, one simple decision to bring light to the dark. The journey to becoming a martyr or a villain is slow, but the direction is set in this first moment of speaking up. Let this thought sit gently with you. The most powerful words are those spoken not for self-gain, but for the quiet hope of the whole, simple world. When a word becomes a weapon, sometimes the whole story of a leader is held inside one single, simple sentence. This strong word is not just talk, it becomes a weapon or a shield. The martyr uses their words as a shield to protect the truth, even if it brings them great pain. The villain uses their words as a sharp weapon to cut down others and make themselves big. This is the core psychology of narrative, one sentence that separates a life of gentle good from a life of hard fear. Once the word is spoken and held fast, the future is fixed like stone. A leader's final stand often comes down to saying, "I will not change this truth." This firm, solid belief is what the people remember most. It does not matter if the sentence is long or short, just that it is kept strong, even when the heavy guards come to take them away. This moment shows great historical courage. The leader who gives up the word too fast will be forgotten. The one who dies for the word will become an immortal symbol. This is how the quiet power of symbology works over time, turning a simple thought into a light that never goes out. The great difference lies in the meaning that word gives to the crowd. If the sentence promises a gentle future for all, even the poor and the weak, the people will call the leader a saint. They will say this person was killed for love. If the sentence promises that only some people will be great and others must fall down, the people will call the leader a dark, feared person. This perception is the real jury. The simple word, once let loose, grows bigger than the leader who first said it. What this deep analysis shows us is the danger of being unyielding. The leader who will not bend breaks in the end, but the breaking makes their story strong. The martyr becomes strong by losing everything, showing that the idea is bigger than the body. The villain becomes strong by crushing everything, showing that only their power is real. The narrative is written in the blood or the tears left behind by that one hard word. This is the lesson that history for sleep must gently teach us. This firm stand on a single idea creates a connection that runs through all of human history, from ancient teachers who spoke of simple justice to modern thinkers who wrote of great freedom. The pattern is the same. The powerful force that seeks to stop the word only makes the word stronger. The word flies from the leader's mouth, and even when the leader is quiet forever, the word keeps moving, whispered from ear to ear in the dark night. It is the real ghost of leadership. The gentle reflection is that we all carry a few simple, true sentences inside us. The difference between a peaceful life and a hard story often rests on how strongly we hold those simple truths. The martyr and the villain both held their words until the end. As you rest now, remember the quiet strength of your own simple, true words. Hold them gently, but hold them fast. Why, some look always up. A leader is not truly great until they serve something bigger than their own heart. This deep need is the key to understanding the difference between the martyr and the villain. The martyr looks always up to a higher reason, a great ideal, a god, or the simple idea of justice for all people. They want to make the world better, not for a reward, but because the unseen force commands it. Their psychology of sacrifice is strong. The leader who serves the unseen is very hard to defeat. You can hurt their body, but you cannot touch the idea they believe in. This is the historical power of faith and ideology. When the crowd sees a leader suffering for an idea they cannot even see, the crowd thinks, "This person is truly strong." This feeling turns the leader into a symbol of hope, even in the darkest times. The martyr does not fear the end because they know their idea will live on, which makes the narrative beautiful and sad. The opposite is the villain who only serves the seen, money, gold, power, or their own comfort. When you can see and touch everything the leader wants, their power is weak. If you take away their gold, their power is gone. The villain's story is short because it is tied to things that break easily. The leader who serves only their own self will be hated when they fail. This analysis of motivation shows us that the truly lasting stories are always about serving something bigger than the self. What this simple truth shows us is how the martyr complex begins. It is the quiet willingness to give up the body for the spirit. The leader who is ready to lose the fight is the one who will win the war in the people's historical memory. They trade their short, warm life for a long, cold story that is told forever. The villain is too afraid to make this trade. They try to keep everything, and so they lose the only thing that matters, the gentle respect of the future. The connection between the great ideas of freedom and the martyr's story is strong. When a leader talks about human rights or simple, equal worth, they touch something very old and deep in the human heart. This is the SEO value of the eternal human search for meaning. The story of a leader who fights for the right to be free always travels fast across the world. This simple truth connects all the long lines of leadership history. The gentle reflection is to ask ourselves what unseen thing we serve in our own quiet lives. Is it the idea of kindness, or is it just the need for more things? The leader who looks always up gives us a good, quiet lesson. Rest now, and let your mind drift toward the high, peaceful idea that you hold most dear. That is the thing that can never be taken away. Share easy tales of big empires. History for sleep is filled with the easy tales of big, strong empires. These empires rise like the sun and fall like the night. But inside these huge stories, there are always the small, simple stories of one single leader. We look at how the leader is caught in the great turning wheel. Did they build the empire with gentle hands, or did they use sharp, cruel force? The answer is often the start of their path to becoming either a martyr or a villain. The difference lies in how the leader treats the people who are not powerful. A great king or queen who uses the empire's wealth to feed the poor is remembered as a kind, good person. They create a narrative of compassion. They become a symbol of hope for all time. A king who takes everything for himself, building huge, ugly statues, is setting the stage for his fall. He becomes a villain because his own people will cheer when the empire finally breaks apart. This psychology of power shows that the higher you climb, the more dangerous your choices become. A simple, small mistake in a big historical empire can become a huge, terrible storm. The martyr often makes a mistake of too much trust, believing everyone is good. The villain makes a mistake of too much fear, trusting no one at all. Both choices, while simple, have huge effects on the final perception that the world holds. What this deep analysis teaches us is that the empire's size does not matter in the end. Only the kindness of the leader remains in the quiet historical memory. When an empire falls to dust, the people remember the leader who tried to stop the bad things from happening. They forget the one who built the strongest walls. The gentle acts are the only stones that stay standing when the great city is gone. This is the core theme of leadership in every age. The connection between the fall of an empire and the fate of its leader is always very strong. The end of the empire is often the start of the martyr's story. When the old power breaks, the new hope needs a face, a simple, pure symbol. The leader who suffered under the bad empire is often the one chosen to carry that new light. The leader of the fallen empire, even if they were good, is often seen as the villain just because they were the last to sit on the throne. The reflection is a quiet truth. Do not be fooled by the high walls or the shining gold of an empire. Look always at the hands of the person who rules it. Are their hands open to give or closed to take? As you rest, let the images of the great quiet ruins drift gently in your mind. The stones teach us that only kindness is strong enough to last. Whisper, forgotten myths from long ago. Every new story of a leader is just an old story told in a new way. We must whisper the forgotten myths from long ago, because they are the first patterns for all our heroes and villains. The myth of the good king who dies for his people is the first martyr complex. The myth of the jealous god who takes all the power is the first villain story. These old tales show us the deep psychology of narrative that still shapes our modern historical memory. The great power of these old stories is that they feel true even when we know they are not real. They speak to the quiet, simple needs of the human heart, the need for a saviour and the need for someone to blame. The leader who can make his own life sound like one of these old myths is the one who will never be forgotten. He borrows the power and the symbolism of the ancient gods and heroes. This is a very strong hidden historical technique. When a leader suffers, the crowd often remembers the ancient hero who suffered in the same way. This connection turns the modern death into a timeless act. They see the martyr as the return of the ancient, pure good. They see the villain as the return of the ancient, terrible shadow. The deep analysis here is that people do not see a person. They see a mirror of a story they were told when they were a small child. The feeling is older and stronger than any simple fact. What this lesson shows us is that all great leadership is a form of acting out an old sacred play. The leader who chooses the martyr's path chooses the role of the sacrificed hero who brings light. The one who chooses the villain's path chooses the role of the jealous brother who is cast out into the dark. The final applause or the final quiet hate is just the ending that the myth demands. This is the heavy price of stepping into the historical spotlight. The simple language of these myths is what makes them great for history for sleep. They use short words and clear pictures, a golden cup, a broken sword, a snake in the garden. These images are easy for the mind to hold on to as it drifts. They are the simple SEO of the deep mind. The narrative is clean, good fights bad, and someone always pays a high final price for the lesson. The gentle reflection is that we are all actors in a story that started long before us. Do not be afraid of the quiet power of the old myths. They only want to teach us simple truths about what is good and what is truly dark. Let the quiet ruins of these old stories settle gently in your heart tonight. The old forgotten tales hold the key to the modern loud world. Join stories from far lands. When we travel in our minds to far lands, we see a strange and comforting truth. The stories of the martyr and the villain are always the same. Across huge oceans and over long mountains, the pattern repeats itself like a gentle song. The leader who is killed for their gentle teaching in one land is just like the leader who was killed for their kind laws in a place far away. This historical pattern shows us that human hearts are all the same. This is the deep analysis of universal psychology. The people of every land need a pure symbol to hold their hope. They need a leader who suffered a great unjust pain for them to feel strong and remembered. This is the making of the martyr complex. They also need a face to put on their quiet anger and their pain, and this is how the villain is made. The names change, the clothes change, but the need for these two simple figures never goes away. The narrative of the good man who is killed by the bad government is the most powerful story in history for sleep. It is easy to understand, even for a child. It is clean and clear. The story of the bad man who hurts many people and is finally brought down is also clear. These simple, strong lines are what the tired mind needs to see. They provide a simple order to the great, heavy chaos of the world. What this global perspective shows us is that we can learn from every time and place. The choices of a king in the cold north are the same as the choices of a wise woman in the hot south. Both had to decide whether to share the food or keep it all for themselves. Both had to choose a simple sign to show their heart. The simple, true nature of leadership does not change, no matter the colour of the sun or the shape of the mountains. The connection between these far-off stories is the simple language of humanity. A leader in any land becomes a symbol because they make a choice that goes against their own safety. That choice to sacrifice is the simple, true key. The SEO value of these simple, powerful themes is what makes them last forever. They are the foundation of all our history and all our quiet dreams. The gentle reflection is a comfort. Though the world is big and full of different lands, the gentle heart is everywhere the same. We share the same hope for a kind leader and the same quiet fear of a cruel one. Let the images of these far lands and their quiet ruins join together in your mind now. The simple patterns of the past are here to guide you to a sweet sleep. The sound of the final breath. The last sound a leader makes is the most important sound of their whole life. It is the sound of their final breath. This moment, whether it is a quiet sigh of peace or a loud cry of rage, is the ending of their great narrative. The way they accept their fate is the final clue for the crowd to decide if they were a martyr or a villain. History waits for this last sound, and it never forgets. A martyr often meets the end with quiet strength, maybe offering a simple, final word of love or forgiveness. This gentle act in the face of death becomes a powerful symbol. It tells the world that the leader's idea was bigger than their own fear. This is the psychology of sacrifice at its peak. The stillness of the leader makes the actions of the executioner look fast and bad. This quiet acceptance is what makes the story of their life an eternal light. A villain often meets the end with loud anger, trying to fight or begging for a simple second chance. This fear shows the crowd that the leader cared only for their own life, not the great idea. This is the final act of the villain's narrative. It proves they were small and afraid. Even if the villain did many good things before, this one moment of fear erases all the good from the historical memory. The focus is placed entirely on their failure to accept the end. What this quiet moment shows us is the true measure of a person's life. The story is not about how they lived, but how they faced the end. The deep analysis here is that the final moment is a test of belief. The leader who truly believed in their cause, good or bad, will show quiet, calm. The leader who only acted for power will show panic. This simple truth is a good lesson for history for sleep. The connection to the people is made in this quiet room. The crowd needs to believe that their martyr was pure to the very end. The quiet acceptance makes the final symbol clean and whole. They need to believe that their villain was weak and afraid to make the people feel safe again. This human need for a clean ending controls the way the narrative is told and retold across the long years. The gentle reflection is that our final moment is always coming. We should try to live our lives so that the sound of our final breath is a quiet, gentle sigh of peace. Let the silence of the past settle around you now. Do not be afraid of the ending of the story, for it is only the start of the final, sweet memory. The crowd. Watching the fall. The crowd is a strange, quiet animal that watches everything. When a leader makes a great mistake or faces a final, terrible fall, the crowd's feeling changes fast. This sudden shift in public opinion is the most powerful force in the writing of history. The same people who cheered the leader yesterday can be the ones who whisper insults today. This psychology of crowds is what decides if the fall makes the leader a martyr or a villain. If the leader falls while trying to save others, the crowd feels a deep, gentle sadness. They see the mistake as a failure of the world, not the leader. They will keep the leader's symbolism alive, turning the memory into a sacred narrative. This is the martyr complex taking hold. The crowd loves the person who tried and lost, because it makes them feel like they could have tried too. Their shared grief becomes a bond of hope. If the leader falls because of their own selfish actions, the crowd feels a sudden, sharp anger. They shout and call for a quick, hard ending. This is the creation of the villain in real time. The crowd needs to throw all their past worries and fears onto this one person, making the leader carry the blame for everything that went wrong. This moment of shared anger is just as strong as shared grief. The historical memory is now cemented in hate. What this moment shows us is that the crowd's reaction is not always fair, but it is always the final truth. The way the crowd reacts is the last word in the leader's deep analysis. The leader who truly understood this force would act their final moments for the crowd to make sure the story ended in the right way. They would wear the right face, speak the right simple word, or remain quietly silent. This is the hard art of leadership. The connection between the leader and the crowd is a deep, strong, gentle wire. The leader needs the crowd to be important, and the crowd needs the leader to hold their big dreams. When the leader falls, the wire breaks, and the energy either turns into a soft, glowing light, the martyr's fame, or a sharp, heavy crack, the villain's shame. This historical moment is the true engine of political psychology. The gentle reflection is that we are all part of the crowd. We all help to write the last pages of the story by what we choose to feel. Do we choose gentle sadness for the effort, or do we choose sharp anger for the mistake? Let your own gentle feelings rest now, and let the quiet, sleeping crowd of history tell you their ancient, simple story. How books change the memory. The most powerful weapon is not the sword, but the simple pen. Long after the noise of the fighting stops, the writer comes in with a quiet, new light. The next generation's books and scrolls are what truly decide the final historical memory of a leader. The writer can choose to make a small hero seem huge or a great villain seem small. This is the quiet, secret power of the narrative. The books written far from the time of the event are often the most important. They are not filled with the heat of the moment, but the cool, calm thought of time. The writer looks back and decides which small facts to keep and which large lies to throw away. The martyr's story is often made stronger by these writers, who turn the heavy pain into a gentle lesson for the future. They clean the symbol of any small mistakes the leader made. The villain's story is often made darker by the new books. The writers take the villain's few small cruelties and make them large and terrible, painting a simple, clear picture of pure evil. This is part of the psychology of history. We need the bad man to be completely bad so the good man can be completely good. The books make the line between the two very sharp, even if the person was grey in real life. This is the way symbology works for the benefit of the future. What this slow turning of the pages shows us is the long-term SEO of leadership. The stories that survive are the ones that are simple to tell and hold a clear lesson. A story that is too complex, too filled with doubt, will fall away. The martyr complex is the most simple. Suffered for truth. Died for love. The story of the villain is also simple. Wanted too much. Caused too much pain. The books make sure these simple lessons stay clear. The connection between the old leader and the young reader is made through these quiet words. The child reading the story learns the values of their time from the lives of the past. The writer is the gentle hand that guides the child's heart. They teach them who to love and who to fear. This is why the deep analysis of who writes the history is just as important as the history itself. The pen holds the quiet key to the future. The gentle reflection is that you are the final reader of all this history. When you choose to believe a story, you help that leader's narrative live on. The books may change the memory, but your own quiet heart holds the power to decide what is true for you. Let the gentle words from the old book settle in your mind now, and let them bring you sweet rest. See lines that cross many years. When we look closely at history for sleep, we can see long, faint lines drawn across many long years. These lines are the repeated paths of sacrifice and selfishness. The line of the martyr is a gentle, soft line that goes up toward the light, even as it breaks. The line of the villain is a hard, sharp line that goes fast up for a time, but always ends in a quick, sudden drop. This is the simple historical graph of all leadership. We can trace the path from an ancient leader who gave up a kingdom for an idea, right to a modern figure who gave up a high job for a simple truth. The shape of their story, their narrative arc, is the same quiet curve. The psychology of belief is what makes the line so strong. They knew they would lose, but they chose to walk the path anyway. This choice turns a person into a powerful symbol. The deep analysis is that selfishness is a very old and tiring story. The leader who only cares about themselves must always be watching, always fighting to keep what they took. This line is stressful and short. The leader who gives to others can rest, because their power is in the people's love, not in their own tired hands. This gentle power is the true reason why the martyr's memory lasts so much longer than the villain's shame. What these simple lines show us is the simple, honest math of symbology. When you give more than you take, the historical memory adds great value to your name. When you take more than you give, the memory subtracts everything. The choice is very clear, but it is also very hard to make when the whole world is giving you easy gold and loud praise. This is the test of character that every leader must face alone. The connection is the simple understanding that the past is not truly gone. The past is only a simple mirror that shows us our own future choices. When we see the long, strong line of the martyr crossing many years, we are being taught a simple, gentle lesson about how to live now. We are being shown a path that promises a quiet, sweet end, even if the road is hard and cold for a while. The gentle reflection is a quiet comfort. You do not have to be a great king or a loud general to follow the line of light. Every small, kind choice you make today is a step on that gentle path. Let the long, quiet lines of history settle gently in your mind now, drawing you toward a deep, peaceful sleep. Explain what the lines mean now. We can gently explain what the lines mean for our own quiet lives. The gentle upward line of the martyr means that selflessness is the only true form of immortality. The leader who chooses to put their ego down and lift up others gains a long life in the world's historical memory. Their narrative is a gentle code that whispers, "Love is stronger than force." This is the simple, core meaning of the light path. The sharp, downward line of the villain is a warning written in a dark, simple code. It means that ego is a heavy, terrible weight that always pulls a person down into the dark. The leader who only listens to their own loud voice and takes everything for themselves will find their story ends quickly. Their symbol becomes a rock of shame that everyone avoids. This is the deep final truth about leadership psychology. The deep analysis here is about symbology versus reality. The martyr understands that they must become a symbol that is better than they were as a real person. They welcome the death of the real person to let the perfect symbol live forever. The villain does not understand this. They try to keep the real person, the selfish, greedy part, alive at all costs, and so they kill the chance for a gentle, good symbol to be born. What this decoding shows us is the quiet message of history for sleep. The past leaves us a note that says, "Be careful of your own voice." The leader who hears the quiet pain of the people, and not just the loud praise for themselves, will walk the gentle path. The leader who hears only the sound of their own greatness will walk the fast, hard path to a quick end. The test of a leader is their listening. The connection to our own world is the simple act of choosing a small thing over a big thing, choosing kindness over being right, choosing to forgive a small mistake instead of shouting a loud anger. These simple, quiet choices are what build a gentle historical memory for our own lives. We are all leaders of our own small story, and we must choose which line we wish to draw. The gentle reflection is a final, simple question. Are you making a symbol of peace or a symbol of stress in your own life? The quiet answer you find now is the most important piece of deep history. Let the simple meaning of these long ago lines bring you a comfortable, quiet sleep. Draw soft picture links. We now draw soft picture links between the very old and the very new. This deep analysis is like connecting simple dots on a long piece of paper. The final picture is always the same. The human heart needs a pure hero to hold on to. This is the simple, recurring psychology that drives the making of the martyr. The ancient leader who was poisoned is linked to the modern one who was shot. The death is different, but the narrative is the same. The martyr complex is strong because it creates a perfect, unbroken chain of gentle hope across history. When the people see a new hero suffer, they do not just feel sad for that person. They remember all the quiet suffering of all the gentle heroes from the past. The new death brings the old ones back to life in their hearts. This chain is the true power of symbology. It makes every pain shared and every hope eternal. This simple link also works for the villain. The modern dictator who uses loud words and fast cars is linked to the ancient emperor who took slaves and gold. The people see the same simple, ugly hunger for power. The villain's memory is not just one person. It is the sum of all the dark shadows of leadership that have ever been. This simple link allows the crowd to put all their fear onto one new person. What these quiet picture links show us is the comfort of historical predictability. We know the story before it ends because we have seen it so many times before. A leader who speaks only of himself will fall. A leader who speaks only of others will be lifted up. This simple rule is the foundation of all the deep history we explore in History for Sleep. The patterns are quiet, but they are never wrong. The connection we make by seeing these links is the simple truth that we are not alone in our time. The challenges we face now were faced by people long ago. The great choice between the gentle path and the hard path has been the same for every leader in every land. This quiet shared journey brings a deep, strong sense of peace to our hearts. The gentle reflection is that you are now holding the whole picture. The entire line of light, from the very first ancient story to the very last modern one, is in your quiet mind. Let the simple, gentle force of all these connected stories flow through you now, bringing you rest and peace. Bring old pictures to today. We must now gently bring old pictures to today and see how modern leaders use the past. They do not just copy the old stories, they dress themselves in the ancient clothes and symbols. A modern politician might use the words of an ancient general to make themselves sound strong. A modern teacher might use the simple clothes of an old martyr to make themselves seem humble. This is the smart use of symbology in the modern age. The deep analysis here is that the people still look for the ancient patterns. The modern world is loud and fast, but the human heart is slow and old. It still needs the comfort of the mythology it learned long ago. The leader who can remind the people of a gentle hero from the past is giving them a gift of simple, warm comfort. The leader who reminds them of a terrible villain from the past is giving them a clear target for their anger. The narrative is carefully built like a quiet movie. The modern martyr will be photographed in front of a simple wall or a quiet field to look like an ancient, suffering figure. The villain will be seen surrounded by too much gold and too many sharp-looking tools, like a greedy figure from an old painting. These careful pictures are the psychology of perception at work. They tell the whole story without needing any sound. What this lesson shows us is the quiet power of the gentle lie. It is a gentle lie because the modern leader is never as simple as the ancient symbol. But the people need the simple, clean picture to believe. They need the hero to be perfect and the villain to be completely bad. The modern leader understands this simple, strong need for a clean, clear line in the historical memory. The connection to history for sleep is the simple, strong idea of the recurring motif. The same quiet rune or the same broken stone is found in every age. The leader may be new, but the lesson is old. We are watching the same play again and again, but the costumes change. This repetition brings a deep, calm rhythm to our understanding of the world. The gentle reflection is a simple comfort. When you see a powerful modern picture, ask yourself, which ancient figure is this person trying to remind me of? What old story are they trying to borrow? Let the quiet echoes of the past guide your mind to a safe, peaceful sleep. Share the first clear revelations. We have arrived at the gentle middle point of our long story, where the first clear revelations are made. This is the quiet moment when the martyr and the villain finally show their true simple heart through a single, final, unforgivable action. For the martyr, this action is the final, total sacrifice of their life or their future. For the villain, it is the first huge cruelty that cannot be explained away. This one simple act is the great dividing line in leadership history. The martyr often does something that seems very unwise, like walking right toward the danger or giving away their only gold. To the people, this foolishness is the highest sign of pure, unselfish love. This is the core of the martyr complex and the great power of their narrative. The unselfish act seals their gentle, immortal fate. The villain's revelation is just as clear. It is the action that hurts the innocent, the simple choice to make a few people suffer for the comfort of the one. This moment is unforgivable because it breaks the gentle, unspoken promise of leadership, to care for the whole tribe. This one simple, cruel action makes all the villain's past good deeds fade away. It locks their symbol into the dark corner of historical memory. What this deep analysis shows us is the simple honesty of a great choice. The choice is always simple, self or others. The psychology of character is not about how the leader talks, but what the leader does when they think no one is watching. The martyr acts for others even in the deep shadows. The villain acts for self even in the bright light. The action is the final, true word. The connection is the idea of simple, true cost. The martyr pays the cost of their life, and the villain pays the cost of their soul. Both costs are final and heavy. The symbology of the final action is all that is left. A quiet, empty hand, or a hand holding a sharp, bloody knife. These are the two simple pictures that history for sleep must hold on to as it drifts. The gentle reflection is a simple, strong lesson. Our lives are not made up of thousands of soft, gentle words, but a few simple, hard actions. Let us try to make our one unforgivable action, the one that is truly, deeply kind. Rest now, and let the quiet images of simple truth settle gently in your heart. Lift eyes to quiet. Cosmic wonder. To truly understand the leader's fate, We must lift our eyes from the ground and look up at the quiet cosmic wonder. The lives of the martyr and the villain are just small, fast flashes of light in the great slow turning of the stars. This shift in perspective, this deep look at the cosmic scale, brings a quiet comfort and a final understanding. Their story is only a tiny, inevitable part of the great cycle of history. The deep analysis here is that no single leader can truly stop the turning of the wheel. The villain who fights and tries to grab all the power will be crushed by the huge, slow force of time. The martyr who gives up their life will be carried by the gentle, huge current of the same force. Both are small, simple pieces of a picture that is too large for any one person to see completely. This is the final lesson in the psychology of power. This cosmic view shows us that the martyr complex is actually a very clever way to join the eternal cycle. By linking their death to an eternal idea, like justice or love, the leader trades their short human time for the long time of the stars. The symbol of their life becomes part of the quiet, natural world, like a river or a mountain. This is a powerful, simple form of immortality. The villain, however, fights against this great cycle. They want to stop time and hold their power forever. This fight is tiring and sad. The stars do not care about the gold they took or the loud shouts they made. The villain's narrative is loud for a short while, but the quiet of the universe quickly swallows the sound. This is the simple truth that History for Sleep wants us to remember. The connection to this vast, slow world brings a deep peace. We realize that the intense fight between good and bad, between the martyr and the villain, is only a small show on a huge stage. The true important story is the one that lasts, the gentle flow of kindness and the quiet search for simple truth. This is the SEO of the soul, the thing that remains when everything else has gone. The gentle reflection is a simple release. Let go of the small, loud worries of the day and look up in your mind. The stars are quiet. The great, slow wheel turns, carrying all things to their gentle right place. Let the cosmic peace of time cover you now and guide you to rest. Watch history. Repeat in soft circles. The events of the past do not happen in a straight line. They move in soft circles, like gentle waves on a quiet lake. When we watch history repeat itself, we learn that every leader's fate is a quiet echo of a pattern that came before. The martyr who stands firm today is an echo of a gentle hero from 1,000 years ago. The villain who lies today is an echo of a greedy king from an old, forgotten story. This deep analysis of repetition brings a great, quiet sense of order to the world. It shows us that there are only a few simple, true stories, and all the rest are just small changes. The psychology of leadership is always the same. How much can a person give, and how much must they take? The gentle circle of symbology shows that selflessness is always the one thing that truly lasts in the end. The narrative of the martyr complex is always the strongest circle. It repeats because the human heart always needs to believe in pure sacrifice. The leader who is killed for love must come back again and again as a new person, in a new time. This simple, strong hope is the most powerful force in historical memory. The circle of the villain is weak, because no one truly wants to remember a great shame. What this repetition shows us is the quiet, calm truth of history for sleep. The great events are not new, just the faces are new. The problems are old, the choices are old. Knowing this makes the present moment feel less scary and loud. We can look to the past circle to see how our current leaders will end their story. The patterns of giving and taking are always clear, like a simple map. The connection is the simple, gentle realization that we too are part of the next circle. The choices we make now will echo into the future, becoming a quiet lesson for the people who come after us. Will our small story be a soft, gentle echo of kindness, or a sharp, heavy echo of anger? We write the next part of the circle with every gentle breath we take. The gentle reflection is a quiet comfort. Let the soft circles of time wash over your mind now. The past is not a heavy burden. It is a simple, peaceful lesson that is always there, waiting for you to see the gentle, recurring shape of hope and shame. Rest now, and let the quiet echoes of history guide you. Open doors to hidden knowledge. We now quietly open doors to hidden knowledge that is not found in the loud history books. We look for the quiet writings and the secret meanings that explain why some leaders seem to seek their own tragic end. This is the deep psychological reason for the martyr complex, a secret need to be made perfect through pain. It is a desire for the eternal pure symbol over the short messy life. This hidden knowledge tells us that the martyr sometimes feels they are not worthy of their own great idea. The only way to prove their true, pure worth is to pay the highest price. This final act of sacrifice cleanses the whole narrative, making the leader a saint in the eyes of the crowd. They achieve a kind of historical perfection that is not possible for a living, breathing person. This quiet truth is often the secret reason for their actions. The villain has a similar but darker secret need. They need the world to be afraid of them. The great shame of the villain is that they do not believe they can be truly loved. They only believe in power and fear. The hidden knowledge shows that the villain often wants to be caught and stopped. Their fall is a strange, dark form of self-punishment. They choose the final shame because they believe it is all they deserve. What this simple, quiet revelation shows us is that the end is almost always by choice. The leader writes the ending long before the final scene. The martyr chooses the great suffering to gain the immortal name. The villain chooses the final fall to end the long, hard stress of pretending to be strong. This is the quiet key to understanding the deep symbology of leadership. The connection to this deep, quiet part of the human mind is a simple, gentle lesson. We all have hidden needs that drive our small daily choices. The history for sleep we explore is a safe place to look at these deep needs without fear. We can see that the desire for love and the fear of not being worthy are the two great forces that move all the stories. The gentle reflection is the simple truth. Do not be afraid of the quiet secrets that you hold inside your heart. They are not dark things. They are only the gentle, honest reasons for your whole simple life. Let the quiet knowledge of the past bring you a deep, true peace. Reach a peaceful high point. Chapter description. We reach a peaceful high point in our analysis, seeing the true unity in the dual path. Both the martyr and the villain are made immortal by the same essential human need for meaning. We have climbed the hill of deep analysis, and now reach a peaceful high point in our understanding. From this quiet place we can see the great, gentle truth. Both the martyr and the villain are made immortal by the same simple, essential, human need for meaning. The crowd needs a story so strong that it never dies, and both the good and the bad leader provide this. They are two sides of the same historical coin. The martyr gives meaning through the perfect symbol of love and sacrifice. The villain gives meaning through the perfect symbol of warning and darkness. Without the villain, the martyr's light is not so bright. Without the martyr, the villain's shame is not so heavy. They need each other for their narrative to be complete and eternal. This duality is the final true key to leadership psychology. This unity in the dual path shows us that our hearts need both extremes to feel safe. We need to know that pure good is possible, and we need to know that great evil is possible too. This simple, clear understanding helps us make sense of the heavy, mixed world we live in. The historical memory does not hold on to the grey, messy middle. It only holds on to the bright light and the deep shadow. What this gentle revelation shows us is the final comfort of symbology. The leader is not important as a person. They are important as a sign. The martyr is a signpost pointing toward hope. The villain is a signpost pointing away from danger. This simple use of their lives, their final quiet purpose, brings a deep sense of order to the long, long story of history for sleep. The connection to our own simple, small lives is this. We all help to define the light and the dark for those around us. Every kind word we say adds a small, soft glow to the light side of the scale. Every angry, hard word we say adds a small, quiet shadow to the dark side. Our gentle choices are the only things that truly matter in the final picture. The gentle reflection is a final, simple comfort. Both light and shadow are part of the one great, quiet picture. Let the gentle unity of all these long-ago stories wrap around you now. Do not fear the dark and do not worry about the light. Simply rest in the peace of knowing the full story. Close with soothing answers and one last question. We now quietly close with soothing answers to the biggest questions we have asked tonight. The great mystery of the martyr versus the villain is solved with a simple truth. The difference is not in their power, but in their simple choice of what to serve. The martyr served a gentle idea for all people, and the villain served only a loud, fast idea for the self. That is the only deep analysis we need to know. The most soothing answer is that the final judge is always time. The power of the villain is loud and fast like a quick storm, but it always passes. The gentle symbol of the martyr is quiet and slow like a growing tree, but it lasts for 1,000 years. Time forgets the loudness of the taker, but always remembers the quiet gift of the giver. This is the historical memory we can trust. The psychology of narrative is designed to bring this comfort. The human mind needs to know that goodness wins in the end, even if the good person must first suffer a great pain. The story of the martyr complex is the simple promise that sacrifice is never in vain. This knowledge is like a gentle hand on your forehead, easing away the worry of the world. The long story always has a quiet, gentle hope hidden inside. What this final look shows us is the quiet strength of your own small choices. You do not need to fight great battles to be remembered on the side of the light. Every gentle action you take today, every kind thought you hold, is a soft echo of the martyr's path. These simple, quiet acts are the true foundation of leadership in your own small world. The connection to the present is the simple act of letting go. We let go of the noise, the fear and the anger of the world, knowing that all of it will pass. Only the quiet, gentle stories of those who gave freely will remain when the sun rises again. This is the peace that history for sleep must always offer to you. We leave you now with one last quiet question to carry into your sleep. If your life were to be made into a simple, silent symbol, would it be a gentle light to guide others, or a dark shadow to warn them away? Let the simple answer bring you a deep, sweet rest. Breathe deep now. Hold the peace you have found in these old stories of martyrs and villains. If you feel this gentle, warm current of psychological history has brought you rest and peace, please share this story with a friend who might also need a quiet night. A simple, quiet sign from you helps us keep this deep analysis glowing softly for all to find. The deep history in our minds, the stories of the martyr and the villain do not just live in the old books, they live in the deep, quiet parts of our dreaming mind. This is the deep history that works into the simple parts of our psychology. When we are tired and ready for sleep, the ghosts of these past leaders come out to teach us their final lessons. Our dreams still hold the simple symbols of sacrifice and shame. This is because the narrative of the past is not just an outside thing, it is built into the very way we think. We learned as a small child to look for the good man to trust and the bad man to run from. The martyr complex is the soft code that tells us who is safe. The villain story is the hard code that tells us who is dangerous. These simple, strong ideas guide our thoughts, even when we're not trying to think at all. The long, slow way history works is like a gentle, constant rain that changes the face of the stone. Over many years, the pure, gentle idea of the martyr washes away all the small human stains. Only the bright light remains. The bad, hard idea of the villain washes away all the small, kind spots. Only the deep shadow remains. The mind does this cleaning for us to make the lessons very clear. What this deep analysis shows us is that the past is the best teacher for our future. By gently studying the simple stories of those who gave and those who took, we train our own hearts to know the difference. We learn to spot the gentle face of the giver and the hungry eyes of the taker. This simple knowledge is the greatest gift that history for sleep can give to us. The connection is the gentle rhythm of the human need to believe. We need the martyr's symbol to remind us that life is not just about eating and sleeping. It is also about something higher and more beautiful. We need the villain's symbol to remind us that we must be careful with the power we're given, even a small power. This balance of light and dark brings peace. The gentle reflection is a final peace. Your mind is safe. It is filled with the quiet, simple wisdom of all the ages. Let the gentle ghosts of the martyr and the villain guide your dreams now, teaching you the simple, true lessons of the past. Rest and find deep peace. How legends are made and kept. The great stories do not save themselves. They are saved by the quiet, careful work of the people. This is how legends are made and kept alive through many long years. The gentle followers of the martyr tell their children the story, keeping the bright symbol alive. They build small, simple monuments and sing quiet songs so that the memory never fades. This work of historical preservation is a profound act of love. This careful work is a key part of the martyr complex. The people need to believe that their hero's life was not a simple waste. By telling the story and making the leader immortal, the people give a final, gentle meaning to the suffering. They turn the short pain into a long-lasting lesson of hope. This powerful, shared narrative is what makes the light shine brighter and stronger with every passing year. The villain's story is also kept alive by careful work, but for a different reason. People need to make sure the terrible mistakes are never repeated. The old, forgotten places where the villain lived are kept as a quiet warning. The stories are told not with love, but with a simple, quiet fear. This fear is a strong fence that keeps the bad idea from coming back. This is the simple, dark purpose of the villain's memory. What this simple, kind work shows us is that we are the guardians of the past. Every time we share a true story with kindness in our heart, we are doing the quiet work of saving the martyr's symbol. Every time we remember a hard lesson to avoid a mistake, we are doing the quiet work of keeping the villain's warning clear. Our voice is the key to unlocking the true power of symbology. The connection is the gentle passing of time from one hand to the next. The old person gives the story to the young person like a small, precious, quiet stone. The young person carries the stone for a while and then gives it to the next. This gentle, unbroken chain is the real deep analysis of history. The simple love of telling a story is the strongest force of all. The gentle reflection is a simple thank you. Thank you for listening to this quiet, long story tonight. You're now one of the careful people who helps to keep these legends alive. Let the simple, quiet work of the many gentle people bring you a calm, deep rest now. The same ending, different stories. Now we make one final, quiet comparison between two leaders who had the same ending. Perhaps both were killed in a simple, cold stone room. Yet one is remembered as the shining, eternal martyr, and the other is remembered as the dark, simple villain. We look for the gentle difference that turned one shared moment into two opposite long stories. The deep analysis is that the difference was only in the heart's intent. The martyr went to the cold room for the sake of the people. The villain went to the cold room because he had nowhere else to run. The crowd saw this difference in the last look in their eyes. The martyr's eyes held peace, and the villain's eyes held only fear. This small, final act of acceptance or refusal is the whole simple story. This psychology of fate shows us that the way a story is remembered is built from the start, not the end. The martyr built a gentle narrative of giving, so the sad end was seen as a final great gift. The villain built a hard narrative of taking, so the sad end was seen as a final great punishment. The end was the same, but but the long road that led there was completely different. What this quiet comparison shows us is the quiet power of simple, true goodness. The things that truly last are the small acts of kindness that were done when no one was watching. The things that fall away are the loud, big acts of power that were done for show. History for sleep always rewards the quiet givers and forgets the loud takers. The connection to the human heart is the gentle realization that we choose our own long-lasting story every day. We can choose to be the one who accepts the small pain for the greater good, or the one who fights every small challenge for their own comfort. This simple, quiet choice is the gentle key to avoiding the path of the villain and walking the path of the martyr. The gentle reflection is a final, simple comfort. Do not fear the endings of life, for they are often the same. Only fear the life that was lived without kindness. Rest now in the peace of knowing that your own heart has the power to choose the light. Finding quiet peace in the past. We gently step away from the dark and light now. We are tired, and the long road of history is done for the night. We must find a simple, true place where we can rest with all the stories of the martyr and the villain in our minds. This place is the simple understanding that both were only human, and both made simple, powerful choices that change the world. This quiet, gentle truth is the deepest peace. We do not have to hate the villain forever, and we do not have to put the martyr too high up in the sky. We can see them both as simple teachers who show us the two clearest roads in life. This moment of simple acceptance brings a quiet end to the long, hard day. It is the core of true deep analysis and the end of the tiring fight. The psychology of acceptance is a kind, gentle force. It allows us to hold the whole story, the good parts and the bad parts, without feeling angry or worried. We know that the patterns are always repeating, and that a new light will always follow a deep shadow. This quiet certainty is the best comfort that history for sleep can offer to a tired mind. What this final piece shows us is that all the great events of the past were just collections of small, simple moments. A leader chose a simple word. A leader chose a small piece of gold. The big things came from the small choices. This simple focus on the tiny things makes the great weight of historical memory feel light and easy to carry. The connection to your own gentle mind is that you are now free from the noise. You have learned the great lesson that all the power and all the pain of the past are only lessons for today. The leader's narrative is complete, and now your own quiet story can be simply peaceful. The gentle reflection is a quiet comfort. You have done well to travel this long, soft road of history tonight. Rest now, and let your mind settle into the quiet, simple truth. You are safe, and the long, gentle story is complete. The final picture of the mind. We come now to the very last thought, the final picture of the mind. When all the loud words of the martyr and the villain are gone, and the light is soft and dim, one simple image remains. This image is the true, final historical memory that your heart has chosen to keep. It is the simple, honest core of the long, gentle story we have shared. For the martyr, the last image is often a quiet, empty hand, open and clean, that once held great power but chose to let it go for the sake of love. This simple, open hand is the final symbol of sacrifice that we carry into our deepest sleep. It is the gentle sign that the leader truly gave everything for the simple, good idea. This is the comfort of the martyr complex. For the villain, the last image is often a closed, tight fist, holding onto a small piece of dust that they thought was gold. The fist is heavy and alone. This simple closed hand is the final symbol of shame that warns us away from the path of greed. It is the simple sign that the leader chose their own small gain over the great good of the whole world. This psychology of finality shows us that everything that was loud and fast is now quiet. The final, gentle memory is always a simple picture, a quiet truth that does not need a single word to explain it. The open hand of the giver or the closed fist of the taker. That is the whole simple lesson of leadership history. The connection to your rest is simple, the story is over, and the gentle lesson is learned. You have done the hard work of listening to the deep analysis and the complex narrative. Now you can put the book down and let the quiet images settle into a simple, peaceful order. The gentle reflection is the final, sweet breath. Let the last thought you hold be the gentle, open hand. It is the true, pure symbol of all that is good in the past and all that is hoped for in the future. Sleep well, friend. The weight of the crown or the quiet of the cell. In the end, they are just stone and wood. The real story lives only in the soft answer of our own memory. We find that the martyr and the villain often share the same first steps, but the difference is just a small turn of the heart, seen only by the final crowd. When we choose what symbols to remember, we choose the next story of leadership psychology. The true hero is the one whose absence leaves a gentle light, not a heavy, dark void. Let that thought linger. What quiet heroism or simple shadow will define your own gentle historical memory? Hold on to the image of the open hand. Sleep well, friend. Sweet dreams.